Welcome to the Impact Business Show. I'm your host, Annalise Warren, a marketing agency CEO, business strategist, digital marketing mentor, wife, and mama of 4 little ones. Stay tuned for conversations with successful, purpose-driven business leaders, as well as practical marketing strategies that you can action right away. We are here to help you master your marketing, build your business, and change the world. So let's get into it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Now, today on the show, I am interviewing David Hauser. David is a friend, and he is dedicating his life to help people identify their passion, to unleash their creative superpowers, engineer their dreams to become the next big innovations, and to live purposeful lives on their own terms. David is a believer in the unlimited potential of all humans and obsessed in creating systems that help humans eliminate wasted time in their lives and focus their efforts on what no machine or AI will ever be able to do, which is dream big. Now, I am so excited for you to listen into this conversation. It was a great one, and it was a bit of a happy accident because we were meant to do this as a Facebook Live, and tech didn't work in our favor. So we ended up recording this without the interaction. And so we could bring it to you as a podcast and as a video show. So I'm so thrilled that you get to hear all of this goodness and it gets to be in this format on the show. So without further ado, I will make sure that we cut now to my interview with David. Please enjoy this as we dive into design thinking and how important it is to do this at the very starting phase of our business, or when we are trying to create something better, when we are trying to do a new program or a new service, or make what we are doing even greater. This is the process that is going to get you there. And it is the process that so many people, I want to say every single entrepreneur that is in my community, has really not done like this. So over to David and Design Thinking 101. Enjoy.
Thank you, Annalise. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to talk about design thinking, innovation, and how to build your perfect product and service value proposition for your clients.
Fantastic. This is something that for me, I didn't have the language around until really, really recently. And even now, my understanding, I will admit, of the concepts are really limited. So I'm going to be totally selfish in my line of questioning and pick your brain about this. So tell me in a nutshell, what is design thinking?
Design thinking is a structured process that helps you from having the desire to create value for your clients, for your customers, to identify what really makes a difference in their lives, that is worth putting your effort in, building quick and dirty prototypes and test them quickly with your prospective clients to identify that there really is a need for it. That's basically it, and we do it until we have a working business. So it's an iterative process where we go through the loops over and over again until we nail it, and we create awesomeness for our clients and customers.
Yay, great. So tell me about your background. How did you land here? How did you come, what is your link and your background with design thinking?
Officially, I came to design thinking quite late in my life. Unofficially, I learned about it about 20 years ago, or even earlier, when I studied engineering, mechanical and mechatronics engineering in Germany. And design thinking is a methodology that was taken from engineers and architects and was formalized as a process. But basically the methodologies, how engineers and architects are developing products, services, buildings, experiences for humans, is the basic of design thinking. So for 10 plus years, I was working as a design engineer, and I've designed a lot of very expensive machines for the automotive, aerospace, smartphone, computer industry. And I was basically in a sort of a protected world because my customers were other engineers. They knew exactly how to communicate with me, and I did not really realize that I was dealing with humans, because those humans were talking to me in a technical language, right? So, but in general, the process from understanding what the client wants, which my customers as an engineer did that for me. From there on, I went basically through a design thinking process throughout my career, coming up with ideas to solve the customer's problem, playing it back to the customer, talking them through it, learning what they liked about it, learning what they didn't like about it, going back to the drawing board, refining it, sounding it back to the customer, until we found a consensus that, okay, yes, I'm happy, that's what I want. Now build it for me and make it ready to run my production, right? So that's what we do as engineers. That's what we do as architects when we design buildings, when we design machines, and that's what we learn when we study it. And then at some point, I decided that I'm sort of done with building machines. I want to dive a little bit more into the entrepreneurial world, help startups more, and I thought I can take my knowledge as an engineer, bring it into the startup world, and it will be amazing. And while I did the research how to do that best, I basically found that someone did it before and called it design thinking. So that's when I basically started to study design thinking and understood, okay, that's the language that the designers and design thinkers are using to describe what I was doing in my engineering career the 10, 15 years before.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. And I think similar to my experience is that the process I knew intrinsically, or, had practiced, but didn't know that was called design thinking either. So how now do you work with entrepreneurs in putting this into practice? How do we begin to think in this way? Because a lot of time, in my experience, the entrepreneurs that I work with, they come up with an idea in their head and they take it to market, and they're very, very attached to that idea. So how do we break that off and realize that people actually have to do what you said and take it to market and refine? How do we overcome that hurdle?
We have to break the attachment to the idea that we have. There is a reason why we have the idea, because we identify the problem, but we don't know how many people do have that problem yet, right? Any problem is worth being solving, but if we want to have a business, if we solve a problem just for one person, then that's not going to create a sustainable business, right? So if something bothers me and I want to create something, a solution for my own problems, that's awesome if I can create that, and design thinking will work for me. But as an entrepreneur, I have to create a value that pays my salary, basically my wages, and supports my business, but creates a sustainable business. So I need definitely more than one customer. I do need at least three, better 3 million, but a minimum of 3 would be nice. So what we have to do is we have to cut the connection, the attachment to the solution, and we have to identify the problem that we're solving. And then we have to find out how many people do have that problem, or what is actually the problem that people do have if we can't find sufficient people with exactly that problem, right? So I experience exactly the same thing that you are experiencing throughout my work with Silicon Beach, where we work with hundreds and thousands of entrepreneurs and people with ideas every week. And many of them do have ideas and want to get to market. They're looking for tech co-founders to create an app or whatsoever, but they have never tested before if there is a market big enough to actually make a sustainable business. So what we do with design thinking, we say, okay, Now look at your solution, and now let's talk about who does have this problem. Let's find those people, go onto social media, go onto the internet, find out if people are looking for this solution. Are they Googling the keywords that your solution is, or your idea is providing a solution for, right? And if you find after, and don't do it just for half a day. A proper market research takes you a couple of weeks at least, and it's hard work. Find those communities where people are talking about the problem that you want to solve. And if you haven't found it after 2 weeks, any hints on the internet, then probably there is no market for your solution, right? If you find the people that are talking about a problem that is in the space of your solution, then don't try to force your solution onto those people. Be an observer. Learn, talk to the people, talk about their struggles, not your solution. Talk about the problem. And you might find out that your solution is not actually addressing their problem and trying to force your idea onto people that, and it's not really solving their struggles, will not give you long-term success and long-term sustainability with your business. So in Y Combinator, one of the most successful and most established accelerator programs in the US, they have a term for that. They say a solution searching for a problem. That's what we have to avoid. We have get rid of solution thinking. Think about the problem first, and then you develop a solution to fix the problem.
Mm-hmm. So true. And I find people don't want to do that step. They really don't want to do that step. It's like they don't want to talk to people. It's just that they are really, really attached to their thing and they want to do it. And that kind of doesn't, they're in love with it. So of course everybody's going to love it. But it's such an important step, because otherwise who are you going to sell to? You really can't create everything without talking to people. But I don't know why it's such a sticking point.
Yeah, look, and I'm guilty myself. I, like most people in our startup community at Silicon Beach, I have plenty of ideas for plenty of problems that I identify. And when we are convinced as humans, we need security to a certain amount, right? So we identify a problem, we think that's the next big thing, and then we start running. And that's something we just have to get a little bit in control of our emotions, I want to say, before doing that, right? And take a step back and really start observing the world. And yes, we have to talk to people. And I'm a technical person. I became an engineer because I'm a nerd. I understood science better than I understood people. So whenever I struggled with talking to people, I did hide away in working with physics, because they were always so nicely logical. But at the end of the day, people will buy our solutions. Planet Earth won't pay us. It is people that are buying whatever we create. So we have to talk to people. We have to listen to people more than we talk to them. And after we listened and we came up with a solution for their problems, then we have to convince them that it is a good solution and that they're happy to put some money down. Because at the end of the day, we can think that we are entrepreneurs and we have a business as much as we want, as long as we do not have the first paying client customer. It's just a dream. It becomes only a business when we have the first money transaction happening into our direction.
Yeah, so nicely said. So for everyone listening, take a step back, think about your idea as this objective, separate yourself from the idea. I think because our business is us initially and we are everything, then we're so intrinsically attached to this idea, but we really do need to separate it, because even from that very first concept of the idea, we don't know if it's going to fit yet. And then once we have spoken to people and we've still refined it, it's likely it's still not right, because we're going to take it to market, and then market is going to tell us what they like and what they don't. And so we need to be able to face that rejection or face that feedback the whole way through as we're refining here and there. So thank you so much for articulating that really well.
Yeah, and look, the beauty about design thinking is that we can test with very low budget prototypes, right? We do not have a working mobile app or something like that. When we start talking to people and we listen to people and listen to their struggles, people want to share their struggles. That's in our nature. When we suffer, we want to tell people about it. We want to share that. So if I am listening carefully and I will provide a solution for them, it can very basic. It can just be a sketch. The first prototype can just be a sketch. And I show them, hey, would that make a difference in your life? And then I see positive emotions in those people, right? Then I have an idea that I might be on the right path. And if I keep in the quick and dirty prototyping phase, if I keep my prototype simple, I can test so many different of my ideas straight away. And if there's no positive reaction, just throw them away and work with those that create those positive emotions. Because at the end of the day, if we want to sell something, what we do must move our customers from a place of bad emotions into a place of positive emotions. And that's what when we test with customers, that's what we want to see. In the early stage, hey, would that solve your problem? And if they say, yes, wow, I haven't thought of this solution, then you're onto something. And you can do that just with a sketch to get started with.
Fantastic. Such a good tip. So talk to us about the process of design thinking. We've kind of spoken broadly about it. Have you got like a step-by-step process that you take people through, or how do you explain this to people when they actually want to do it?
The design thinking process, most models of the design thinking process are a 5-step process, and they start with the empathizing phase. So we're trying as much as possible to put ourselves into the customers or the client's shoes. We really try to understand their struggles in life. We try to feel what they feel. We try to understand their emotions. In some cases, the empathizing phase in the research project goes as far that we manipulate our world to actually try to understand people. For example, when we empathize with elderly people, we wear heavy vests and constrain our neck movement and wear glasses that blur our sight. And that's how we can dive deeply into how elderly people experiencing going through a day.
Oh my goodness.
That's on the extreme side, right? But just talking to people, listening, asking them how their day was, what they were excited about, what they were doing, and then giving them time to express that there was something that was inconvenient, that was, make them feel comfortable to talk about things that they are probably not confident about talking to strangers in the first place, but give them the space to express everything. And when there is something of interest, ask why did that happen? Why did you feel like this in that situation? Because it's really not that often that that we in our daily life we can connect the emotions that the feelings that we have with the deeper, the underlying issue that is there, right? We see something that triggers us and we think, okay, that what triggered us is actually the problem that we want to solve. But when we dive deeper, then we find out that the trigger is connected to another issue, right? So asking why questions a lot, listening a lot, and when we are, don't jump to conclusions. If whenever you catch yourself that you about to jump to conclusion, hold back and ask the person you're listening to why. And you should, the speaking to listening ratio should probably be 1 to 4. Listen a lot, take notes, and ask a lot of why questions. That's how we empathize in the first place. And we do that with more than one person, because only when we have a large enough sample size, we can actually verify that there is a pattern, that there's a cluster of people that do have a similar problem. And we do not do it preferably with family or friends, because they will most likely not be 100% honest to us, because they love us so much and they do not want to hurt us. So we do it with a lot of strangers, people that we recruited through social media or through a group that we are part of, through a community that we are a part of. And we want to talk to at least 10 to 20 people, do those interviews, learn about their lives. And then in the second phase, we go to define, from empathize to define. And that's when we find the patterns. We see where are the similarities, what are the same struggles for those people, right? And we basically identify the clusters of similarities. And if we really want to move it to the next step, then we actually create artificial avatars that are combining all those problems in one person, and we call those the persona that we're designing for. So we're creating a model of the person that does have the problems that we want to address. That's the define phase. And when we have that, then is the time when we actually start to come up with ideas, because now we know what problem we want to solve and what is worth to be solved. Mm-hmm. Because multiple people do have the same problem, right? And then we start ideation. And preferably we start ideation not by ourselves. We are all limited in our experiences, in our knowledge, right? So I can't find ideas by myself that are outside of the way I see the world, right? That's when we want to be creative, when we want to come up with ideas that are out of the box, out of my box. I have to add other people with other boxes. And so we create a larger space, a wealth of experience, a wealth of different point of views to look at the problem, that inspire each other to think bigger and take other approaches to solve a problem. And that's how we come up with a lot of ideas that are much more creative and much more diverse than we could ever come up by ourselves. And obviously there are tools and strategies how we can facilitate to be more creative as well. Brainstorming alone is not the cure of all. There are other strategies like Hamper, Crazy 8, different tools that I'm happy to share with anyone who wants to have a read into it, that are helping us, that when we get stuck, when we feel that there is no other idea, we've already found all the ideas, that are getting us out of that space and, hey, there's something else. I didn't think of that, right? Mm-hmm. But the important is we do not ideate and be creative to the very end. At some point, we cut it off and we set ourselves a time limit. Because as creative people that we are, we often think that that's all there is, right? But if we do not stop ourselves at one point and say we now have sufficient ideas, we can choose the best 3 or 4 of those ideas, we would be creative till the end of next week, and we would not get anything done at all.
So true. That's a really great point, is to that ideation process with others. I don't think that comes naturally to many of us, but as you're speaking through it, I can think of lots of examples in my life where that is really true and really applicable. So thank you for bringing that up.
Oh, you're welcome. And look, you have your friends. If you when you go through some struggles and you just sound your struggles, your ideas, or whatever you're thinking out to a friend, and they sound back to you how they understand it, that's a different point of view, and which increases your understanding of your own situation right now, right? And nothing else happens when we bring different people from different backgrounds into a room, and we give them the tools, and we facilitate that they are listening, and that they are inspiring each other to come up with more ideas. It's probably one of the most interesting and underestimated, undervalued processes of the design thinking methodology, that we really that the facilitation of innovation, of ideation, is such an important thing to really come up with ideas that are not something that we already had in our heads, right?
Yeah, and to really get that diversity.
As when I was working as an engineer, we put a bunch of engineers that all working in the same industry for 5 to 15 years already into a room, and told them that they have to come up with creative ideas. The only thing that we came up with were iterations of ideas that we had in the past, right? Some of them might have been awesome, but we seldomly came up with ideas that were outside of our understanding and outside of the experiences that we already had. So bring a diverse group of people in, and bring a facilitator in who is not biased.
So true. I mean, even we're owner building a house at the moment, which, you know, my husband is actually building it. He's a carpenter, and often he'll be talking about something, and then I will interject with my absolute zero knowledge. But it might be a different perspective he hadn't thought of. And maybe my idea is totally terrible, but occasionally I'll spark something in him. He's like, oh no, that won't work. But if I do use like this piece of it and I do it this way. So I can see how even in that example, that diversity of thinking can be really effective. So take that, everyone. Take that and apply it to what you are doing, because it can be really, really powerful.
And don't be afraid to be the dumbest person in the room. The dumbest person in the room, with the least knowledge of the subject matter expertise, is the person that comes up with those questions that are actually opening up the space for everyone to think out of the box.
Yeah, good point. So what's next after that stage? What's next?
So let's say we came up with 20 ideas. Building 20 prototypes is probably a little bit a big thing. So what we basically do within the ideation group, we talk through the ideas, and we choose the 3 or 4 that we want to try out straight away. We do not throw away anything. Never ever throw anything away, because you never know when there will be a fit for it, right? Mm-hmm. But at that point, with the people in the room, and probably some experts in the room as well, we look at the ideas that we have, and we give them points, and the ones that score the most, the 3 that get the highest scores, those are the ones that we select to build prototypes of. And as I said, when in the ideation phase, if you spend half a day, 1 day ideation, you already might have sketches of the idea to communicate it just within the team. So in the first level, or the next level up of building a prototype, you basically want just to refine those sketches, or create, if it's, for example, if it's a website, you want to create wireframes that you can actually show someone and say, a potential customer, and say, look, that's my website. Would you mind telling me what you see right now here with this website, and what would you do next when you're on this front page? And then they click on the button that you drawn, and then you pull out the next wireframe, which actually shows you what window, what page will be opened up. And then don't talk, look, is that what the person expected to see when they press that button, right? Is there, oh yeah, that's cool, or oh, what is that doing here? That's weird. Make notes of that, and then ask, after the wave of emotions, after the person basically stopped interacting with it, then ask questions. why this emotion came up, why this reaction came up. Or if you want to go further, say, okay, I see there was a problem, but that was actually what I wanted to. Let's go move on to the next page of the website, right? That's just with a website. You can build, if it's a physical product that you design, you can build it out of cardboard, a backpack, for example, out of cardboard or paper that people can put on. So you understand the ratios of the size of the backpack and where it sits on people with different sizes, bodies, if it's comfortable, if they feel comfortable about it. Really do it quick and dirty. Do it with handcrafting materials, and get people to interact with it. And don't be ashamed. It's not perfect, but what you learn in early stages with prototypes that you can alter within 10 minutes to adjust it to actually what you learn, that will help you so much in the long run. Because the more complex your prototypes are, or your products are, the longer it takes you to change them, right? Whatever you can learn with a basic prototype that you can change within 10 minutes, learn it. Take this chance. You will never have it again later in the design process.
Perfect. Yeah, great tips. I love the vision of the backpack, the cardboard backpack, but makes it really, really tangible for people. So that's great.
Clothing, just if you want to design a new jacket or something like that, take an old jacket, alter it somehow, and it does not have to be altered with a sewing machine. Just put needles in there, some sort, to change the shape of it.
Yeah.
Whatever you have that can be modified easily.
Yeah.
And then we already talked about the last step, that's the testing. And you build those prototypes not to make yourself feel good about your prototype and what you've created. You build those prototypes to test different things. And the first thing you want to test is it desirable? So the customers that you design it for, do they really like your product, right? And in the first iteration of the design thinking process, when you just get started, that's basically all you want to learn. As soon as you do that and you optimize the prototype, you go into the second iteration, then you can test other things like the feasibility. Can you build it? How can it be designed? How can it be manufactured? How can it be created in a way that it meets those customer requirements? And if you have that nailed, then how can we make a business case out of it, right? But there is no point to think about how to build something and crunch the numbers as long as you do not have customers that desire what you want to build for them. It can be the cheapest thing ever. If it does not create value, tangible value for your clients, they will not buy it in the long run.
So important. And it needs to be, I think this is like the marketing speak coming through, but it's like what they say, where you sell people what they want, and then you give them what they want and what they need. Because if they don't see the value in it, even if you know it's going to change their life, if they don't see the value, they're not going to buy.
So, it is. And value is a very subjective measure. Each and every one of us values different things differently. So there, you can't measure it without interacting with your clients.
Yeah, really important. So how long could this process take from start to finish? With one cycle.
The fastest comprehensive iteration of it is a design sprint, which is 1 week. You have 1 week, 8 to 10 hours a day with all the people that you need for that. You can do it in 5 days. In that case, we're talking about convincing. You're working in an organization, a large company. You want to optimize a process, for example, within departments, and you convince all the senior management that they free up 5 to 10 people for a week. You can do a design sprint within 1 week. Each step of the process 1 day.
Okay.
But most of us do not have those resources, and most of us do especially not have access to, in the early stage of a startup, do not have access to potential clients just by a snip of a finger. So for example, we did a research project for Silicon Beach in the past, and it took us as a part-time project with volunteers, it took us 2 to 3 months to go through the whole interview process, just recruiting the interviewees, arranging the video interviews, adjusting to COVID, and all of that. So that took us 2 to 3 months. If you already have a customer base, for example, you have an online community like you, Annelies, you have your community on Facebook, so it's relatively easy for you to recruit people to test a new product or service that you put out there, right? You just post it and say, hey, next week Wednesday, who does have time, and you take the first 20 people. Then you can get going easily, and can get the tests done within a couple of weeks. And yeah, I guess that's a reasonable time frame for people that are especially doing it or as a side hustle, that take a week for each and every step of the process, plan it properly, map it out, and then process work through it throughout a week. And then you have the results, and you move next week, you move on to the next step.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. And I think then also to be able to process the results and really sit with that and what that means for your original idea and what that means then moving forward, and allow that time to sort of sit a bit before you just react straight away. So I think that's good advice. So you've mentioned Silicon Beach a couple of times. For those people who don't know what Silicon Beach is, could you explain that for us, please?
I sure can. Yeah, Silicon Beach is a now over 12 years old community for startup founders and small business owners. It was created 12 years ago for people that were interested, especially in tech startups. But over the years, we're just a community for people that are interested in anything about entrepreneurship and creating their own business, creating a better lives for themselves and for the people that they love. So we run weekly events for the community that are of educational sort. That those are free online or live events, covering areas of product service development. A lot of the things in that realm are done by myself and my company Think Innovation. We are running events that are about accounting, finances, and legal stuff, which all businesses have to be aware of as well. When we finally have a valid product that people desire. We're running networking events where we can connect you not just with potential clients and customers of your product and service, but also with potential collaborators and service providers that help you to take the next step in your entrepreneurial journey. And what I think is probably one of the most important events that we run is a pitch night event, or multiple pitch night events, where people at all stages of their startup journey or entrepreneurial journey can get up on stage or on screen for the very first time and pitch their idea, their business idea, their startup to the audience in the room or online on the Zoom call, and get feedback about their idea, what is good about, where they have to work about it, and attract interest for the idea. So that's what we do in Silicon Beach. And we will do more education, and especially more early founder education, product service development education in the near future as well, because we see really a need that we have to nail the value proposition first before we think about what form of incorporation we should choose.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, thank you for that. And that is very true. And your company, Think Innovation, what are you doing at the moment that you're really excited about?
We are most excited about in launching our first startup small business entrepreneur pre-accelerator program. And it's basically what we're doing there is exactly what I've described right now, but instead of talking you through in about 40 or 45 minutes, we actually take you by the hand, and over a 3-month process with weekly workshops, we are guiding you through the design thinking process from your idea or from your customer problem, whatever you come in with, building your first prototype, verifying the value proposition with your clients, um, going through a lessons learned session, and then go with you through a second iteration of the design thinking process. So you basically really learn the value of doing the ongoing testing and interaction with your customer and client. We take you on by the hand and guide you through that process over a 3-month period to get you ready to pitch to potential investors, pitch to clients, pitch to customers, sell your idea and your business, your product to basically anyone that is important for making your dream come true. So there is product development coaching and mentoring. There is sales and marketing coaching and mentoring, maybe even by Annalise. Um, there is we do some legal and accounting as well, so that you know about the ins and out of the money as well. The most important bit of it for us is that you really nail the value proposition for your clients, that you have a product or a service that is really that your clients, your first clients, are going to tell everyone about it, right? They're so excited about what you've created for them that they can't hold back, but they cold call their parents and their friends and say, "Hey, that's so amazing! What I just bought." Yeah, that's what we do, and we start already next month with it.
I'm really excited to see this unfold, because this process, it's really not, I don't see it being done, or if it is being done, it's not being done well. So I love that you've created the space for people to go through it. And it's almost like the accountability to then be showing up and not miss the phases that are a bit uncomfortable, but to actually do it right and to really get the foundation solid and nail that value proposition. Because I'm in a community online with agency owners, and I think there's like 800 of us in there. And so often the complaint that I see, or the comments that I see in the group, are from agency owners that have had founders come to them having spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to get their product off the ground, and it's just not a good product. And they say it like, the client doesn't want to hear that they have an ugly baby kind of thing. And so this problem is really prolific, that we don't do this process well, and we just run with an idea that we think is fantastic, but that isn't going to work from a financial viability perspective, or just isn't going to solve the need in the problem that we think it is, or in the way that we think it is. So thank you for putting this together and getting the experts that all in that room together, and providing the space for people to do it together. So I'm really excited to see what comes out of this.
And that's really important. Thanks for mentioning it. Right, it's not just me who is doing all the talking. I only know my bit of the whole journey. I'm only expert in a small bit. We have Annalise for marketing and sales. We have mindset and leadership experts. We have fast prototyping experts that are helping us with getting digital prototypes out quickly, but also physical ones. We have legal and accounting experts. So you get the best of the best from all of the disciplines that you need when you run your own business and you design your own product and services. So we have a real war chest of expertise within the program to support you.
So how can people find out more about that, David?
The program is called the Thinkubator. Google Thinkubator, or we will share the link with you. The website is online. You can find me, David Hauser, on LinkedIn, if you on Facebook as well, if you want to reach out. But yeah, we will share all the social media and online links with you somewhere in the chat below.
Perfect. You will find it wherever you find this video, you will find the links there. So I encourage you to hop on over to the website and check it out. And if you are an early stage founder, or you have an idea if you would like to be, if entrepreneurship is on the cards for you, have a look at this program and think about how much time it's going to save off your journey and how much money it's going to save you by actually having tested this in the right way, taking it to market with people who have seen so many entrepreneurial journeys start, and you know, the ones that succeed and the ones that fail, the people that are involved here, especially David. You heard him speak about his experience with Silicon Beach. He has worked with so many founders in so many different industries, and so the knowledge here is practical wisdom that if you fit into this category, this is going to be game changing for you and speed up the entire process. So I encourage you to check it out. Is there anything else you would like to mention before we head off for the evening, David?
Yeah, probably that one of the most important aspects that I think that really separates the Thinkubator from other pre-accelerator programs or other programs that are out there is that we really focus on that we're not just creating a business that is profitable, but we're creating businesses that you love, the business that you do, that you're really passionate about that business, so that 3 to 5 years down the road, you're not thinking more in the morning when you get up, I do not want to get out of here. I want to stay in bed because I do not love what I'm doing. We're really passionate about creating businesses that are purposeful to you, and they create fulfillment for their entrepreneurs, for their founders. So that's really dear to our hearts. And yeah, if you want to live the life of your dreams and make your ideas come alive, please reach out and see if we're a good fit for you.
So I'm really grateful that you took the time to explain this process to me. I'm glad that I got to understand this better as well. So thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us.
I'm so happy for the invitation and sharing this awesome program with your community as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, David. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Impact Business Show. 2 things you should know before you go. First, come and join the party. I'm live with free marketing training in the Social Marketing Method Facebook group every single week. That's where you can ask questions and get the answers you need to simplify your strategy and amplify your income. Go to annalisewarn.com/group to join and come and network with an incredible community of like-minded business owners. Now, second, if you have got any value from this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe, and share it out on your socials. Your support helps us reach more purpose-driven entrepreneurs and increase our impact in the world. Thank you, and I will see you next week. Bye.